Okay, hi everyone. It's SmithyQ from SmithyQ.com, and we're going to get the next installment in my King's Indian series. This game features the good and the bad. The good is everything up into this position, where I had steadily outplayed my opponent, and you can see that right now Black has just got a very nice position. I completely dominate the open e-file. My pieces are great. White has absolutely no play. Black is carrying the initiative. Excellent. But then there's the bad, and the bad is that I don't exactly finish this game off in style. If anything, it completely self-destructs from here. So before we go any further, I'd like to ask yourself what you would do here, because I did not find a good plan, or really any plan here. I kind of drifted, and then I got desperate, and there was some psychology here, is that I knew I had a good position here, but I couldn't do anything with it. And that kind of threw me on tilt a little bit, and I played some really rash moves trying to justify my advantage, and then I self-destructed. So first, let me just quickly recap how we got here, the first 20 moves, and then there's only 30 moves in the whole game. Frig. You make 20 good moves, and then you still lose. Anyway, I'm learning and opening. We'll see that my rating is still pretty much in the exact same spot it always is. Figure that out. Anyway, so we got this London-ish King's Indian. Why not? With e3, but with c4, okay. This is the first time I think I've ever played against that. And my opponent immediately lets me trade off his dark square bishop, so I go for that right away. He goes back. Looking back, I'd probably play... oh, this is fine. Knight c6. He plays a3. Okay, why not? Take. I took right away. No, you gotta be careful, right? Because if you take it, he's got the open H file. Maybe he can use that, but he also has no H pawn, to exchange. And I honestly don't find these positions very dangerous at all. Maybe if he castles queenside, but he's got some pawn weaknesses over here that I could attack. You can imagine these pawns coming at him, and his king probably isn't any safer over there. Especially as I go in the center, I play e5, and then he doesn't do anything. Well, I've got the two bishops, so let's open the position up. Take. Rook e8. Rook is facing his king on the open e-file. Okay. He advances and gains space, sure, but it kicks my knight to a great square, and look at this bishop. Absolutely beautiful, right? So knight e5, take, and I decided to take with the rook. I figured that the e-file, open e-file with the rook, was more important than the long diagonal with the bishop. It seemed like I could have more pressure there. So I took. He then wasted a tempo, and that when he played bishop f5 with tempo. Okay, and then... alright, so this is... up till now, I think I played, honestly, pretty darn good. Here... how much time? Yeah, you can see I spent, 40 seconds around here. Is that I was trying to see if there was anything on the e-file. Whether I could just take on e7 right away, or if I could somehow get this going, because I wanted to prevent him from castling. Because to me, this is one of the times my intuition was completely wrong. I thought for sure my opponent was going to castle queenside. I guess that's this way in the camera. And then he's going to try and attack me with the open h-file. And so I was trying to see if there's a way I could keep him in the center while I attack him. There isn't any way to keep him in the center. And so then I figured I was going to play a6, so that way as soon as he castles, if he were to castle, either right away or soon after, I'm going to play b5, sacrifice some pawns for the sake of the open lines over here. Of course, looking at this now, it doesn't look as good, partly because my rook is over here, and it's not easy for the rook to get over to the queen side. The pawns are in the way. And so I would have to come all the way back and then all the way over. That's a lot of tempi when I've already sacrificed the pawn. So this wasn't a good idea, and it ended up he didn't castle. He castled kingside anyway, so maybe we should have called my bluff. But anyway, I'm able to keep applying the pressure. Okay, we evidently reset the game. So I play queen e7, again dominating the e-file. He goes bishop f3, dominate the e-file. He plays G. This is kind of an interesting idea he got here. G4, which both gains a little bit of space. Then he plays G3. with the idea pretty clearly of bringing his bishop back to g2, and then his position, it's fairly harmonious. He still has no plan, right? But he's waiting for me to do something. But it's in this position I couldn't do it. And I spent 30 seconds. Okay, all right, so that's not, when you say it like that, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a 3-minute game, right? So that's like a sixth of my time. On this, and I couldn't find anything. So the problem is that I can't invade anywhere on the e-file, right? Everything is extremely well, not even any potential sacrifices. I completely dominate the e-file, but I can't move any of my other pieces onto the e-file to do anything, to complement it. Notice how this rook, yeah, it's great, but it's blocking my bishop, and so my bishop actually can't really move it. Whoops, okay, that doesn't really do anything, right? Like, what's that do? What my pawn breaks? If I try something like c6, right, he's just going to take. Thank you very much. All right, maybe we can, exchange some stuff. But now he's got this d-pawn that he can gang up on, and I still have no weaknesses to attack, right? I still can't invade on the e-file. Similarly, trying ideas with b5. Okay, take. What do I take with? All right, does this help? Does this hurt? Again, he's got this potential c-file on a backwards pawn. So that wasn't working. In the game, I ended up trying to go for f5. It seemed as if, take would have freed me and given me a little bit more room to work with. My bishop goes right back to the square it was on before he pushed g5, right? Maybe I can use the open f-file. My opponent, he does a sensible thing, and he plays g5. It's now the pawn's in my way. And, whoops, and don't do that move. There we go. And then what? So then I tried b5, I don't know what else to do, and you can see at this point I'm low on time. I have half as much time as my opponent. But these open lines, I'm in no position to open the lines on the queen side. And then, I'm so desperate for anything, is I play this queen f8 idea with the idea of playing h6, take, and then my bishop comes on this diagonal. And so even though my bishop's on a great diagonal, because my pieces are, I can't do anything. I can't coordinate my pieces. My pieces are good, but they're not good. And this was the problem I faced. And we'll see here, I just start self-destructing, so this h6 idea, he doesn't take. Now he's very close to my king. My position's not lost or anything. But at this point, it's getting easier for white to play. Again, white has a plan, and I don't. I'm still just staring at an open e-file with nothing to do. I get desperate. I sacrifice a pawn. I try to open the f-file, and oh crap, my king comes out. Now apparently, after king e7, I'm not doing too bad because he doesn't have time to take. Well, that's mate, right? And then that gives me a chance to do something. And my king, if he comes over here, maybe I can use the open files against him. Computer says position's about equal, even though I'm down a whole bunch of material. So that means I would have good comp. But self-destruct, again, I sacrifice. I then do this because I don't know what the heck's going on. And whoops, I just lost a rook. Look at my tactics training paying off there, right? And the big problem here is that I'm trying to move quickly in a position I knew I used to be better, but now it's not better, and I felt, and so the game just spiraled out of control. And it all comes back, really, to here. My inability to find a good plan. There's one pawn break I didn't mention. So there was c6, there was b5, I tried f5 in the game. So what's the only logical possibility left? h5. Which I dismissed instantly, because after take, his bishop controls, I can't take with the rook, right? And so I'd be forced to take with this. And my pawn structure is a bit of a mess. It looks like my king is weaker, and I eliminated his double pawn. And so I didn't bother looking any further than this. But this is best play. And it's interesting to see why. Well, if we just back up a couple moves, right, back to, g3. By playing, and we can see how congested my forces are. Right, my rook can't really move anywhere, my bishop has no good squares, nothing's happening. After this h5, right, he can't push because I can just take it. That's not very good. Taking is probably forced. And then after I take back, all of a sudden I've got the king side to play with. You've got h4 potentially, with pieces coming. I could move the king off the file, bring the pieces over here, try and attack this way. This guy's coming in. My bishop has a huge diagonal all of a sudden to work, and my pieces have a lot more play. I still control the e-file. And this is important, because, okay, my rooks can't do anything on the e-file. This also means he can't bring his pieces into the defense. I mean, look, if the knight comes anywhere, I'll just double exchange on it, and I've got 2 pieces for the rook. And with the rook coming onto the 7th rank. Also, this rook can now slide over, and that gives this bishop a chance to come into the game. So, all my pieces are now freer, and I've got a definite plan. I'm attacking on the king side. Not necessarily for mate, but trying to provoke more weaknesses. Again, if I can push in here, and we get an exchange here, he's going to get stuck with a weak isolated g-pawn, half-open file, and you're darn right I can get everything to come in. Also, if I can exchange this pawn, well, this pawn's not there anymore, which means my rook now have a square on e3. And then I can do something, and if I can move this rook, then I can move this bishop, and all of a sudden my position makes sense, and I'm coming in. So in this position, my lack of experience in the King's Indian and these type of structures led me to dismiss h5 immediately, because after take, my structure is worse. Right, I got this weird isolated pawns. It doesn't look like I couldn't see or I couldn't sense the follow-up, what to come next. But even if I couldn't see the follow-up, and I couldn't, right? I spent it's hard to say. I spent a lot of time. I spent time on it. But this is the freest my pieces can get. My pieces can now move. My pieces can do something. He still has no plan. Okay, so what? My pawn structure is a little bit weaker. Can he attack it? What's he going to do? And again, if I can ever play this and force an exchange, well, his pawn structure is just as weak as mine, if not worse. And so, and then my pieces, again, they can start breathing. They can move. They can come in. And I'm pretty sure if I can get to this position, I don't lose this game. Right? If I would have went for h5 instead of f5. F5 is the normal thematic move in the King's Indian. It doesn't work in every position. It didn't work in this position. So that's something for me to learn, to remember. It's to keep looking at those dynamic possibilities. Okay, my pawn structure got worse than it used to be. My pieces can move. That's so important. And that's something, again, I need to learn as I do this opening. So hopefully that was interesting to you. Maybe you found the right move instantly. Congratulations, you're a better King's Indian player than I am. And again, the hope is, a year from now, if I get to a position, that's as dominating. Let me get rid of the arrows. As this, I'm in complete control. Computer says it's a winning advantage if I can find the right plan. And hopefully, roughly a year from now, I'll find that plan. I'll know instantly, and it won't take me 30 seconds to completely blunder it away. So that's that. SmithyQ, SmithyQ.com. Thanks for watching. You can like and subscribe if you want. That'd be, of course, always great. I'd love to hear comments, criticism. That's always great. So feel free to drop me a line. I love talking about chess. There'll probably be less content going forward, just for a variety of reasons, but primarily, so I'll be a bit less active, but I always love chess, so shoot me a line if you want. Anyway, that's it. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.